I want to talk about the very strange story of John Porter East, who was a senator from North Carolina. And his story is pretty strange because he's born on May 5th and he died at the age of 55 days after his birthday. And they say he committed suicide on June 29th, 1986, by means of carbon monoxide poisoning. And I'm going to show you this is the same similar pattern that I've been documenting with the deaths of Weird Al Yankovic's parents, who also died of carbon monoxide poisoning. And Weird Al worships the number 27. And then the death of Mozart, who is speculated to have been poisoned at the young age of 35. But there's one particular number that connects them all, and that's the number 125. And I've been researching his story for probably since October of last year. And that number was definitely the missing piece of the puzzle that further proves that the ritualistic murders that I've been documenting on this channel all have one thing in common. So it's pretty bizarre, how they stacked the number 55 in this. So his birthday, May 5th, take away the dash, and you're left with the number 55. And I think this is proof that, symbols, they say, have an effect on the consciousness. And the repetitive patterns, whoever's behind these rituals must be trying to invoke some kind of change on their consciousness. And the repetitive patterns of these numbers, they say, are supposed to have, an effect on your consciousness to bring you into altered states of consciousness. So a lot of 55s in here. So he's dead on the 29th. And when you spell that out as a word, it equals 55 in the most pure cipher. As well as poisoning also has value of 55. All in the most pure cipher. As well as his place of death, Greenville, 55. And you'll see here, from his May 5th birthday where he turned 55, that was the end of his 55th year. And he was beginning his... What's interesting, if you do include the end date, the 29th, with here it's 55, excluding the end date, it would be 56 days from his 55th birthday. But all that does is mark the end of his 55th year and begin the start of his 56th year. But a big part of, like I said, the big part of the puzzle that I had been missing was the 125 connection. And he's born on the 125th day of the year, May 5th, 1931. And in case you haven't watched my videos on Mozart, he died on 12/5, and he's born on the 27th day of the year. And that's special because when you write out 27 as a word, it equals 125. and they say he's poisoning. He was poisoned. Poisoning equals 125. And the other piece I was missing was the fact that, you know, there's a lot of talk of blood sacrifice and human sacrifice, but this was a big piece of the puzzle that I was missing, was the fact that it's more accurate to say, when you take into consideration these numbers, it's a Saturnian sacrifice. They're trying to invoke, it's either, I have a couple theories. One, they're trying to invoke the energy of Saturn to bring change throughout, the world, to harness that energy. And the energy of Saturn is darkness. It's not good, it's evil. But Saturnian sacrifice, very important, I'm discovering. And I had always known his last name, East, had this value of 27. I knew there had to be another connection to 27, but I couldn't find it because I didn't know about 125. You see? And I knew, I just didn't want to say, okay, ritual, because ritual is 27. I knew there had to be something more. And I was right. Because 27, when you spell it out as a word, has value of 125. So what's even crazier is they say East contracted polio in 1955. So what are the odds of all those 55s? He's got the 5/5 birthday, dead at the age of 55, 55 days after his 55th birthday. I mean, it's insane. But there's even more, because 257 is prime, and it's the 55th prime, which ties in to his place of death, Greenville, North Carolina. 257, just like blood sacrifice. You'd be hard-pressed to find another number ritual with this many 55 stacked on top of each other. And I challenge anyone to go and try to find me another ritual with this many 55s. But another aspect of this riddle that I think may be connected to his death is the fact that the color purple was filmed in North Carolina. And once you see the matching value with John Porter East in the color purple, which I'll get into later, but you can see why North Carolina was a fitting place for him to be senator, because of the matching value of 67 and 77. What's interesting is the 194 reminds me of April 19th, the day that the Blue Dahlia film came out, which is associated with the Black Dahlia. And then 56 years later, you get the release of Murder by Numbers on the same exact day. And April 19th was the day of the formation of the Superior General of the Society of Jesus. So kind of crazy. And yeah, the satanic numbers are definitely behind this. But I'm posing the question, is Saturnianism, Saturn worship, and Satan worship the same thing. And in a way, Satanism, true Satanism, has been obscured. I don't think mainstream Satanism is not what true Satanism is about. And that's the whole purpose of Satanism, is deception. You'll never know the truth. That's why Aleister Crowley says, a lot of people say, oh, he wasn't actually a Satanist. It's like, yeah, right. If Aleister Crowley said he wasn't a Satanist, it's because he is a Satanist. He's not going to tell you the truth. But Greenville also has value of 122, just like satanic. And another interesting, Saturnian death cult. And I discovered this because there's been a number of books that have been written about it. I thought, I wonder what the value of Saturnian death cult could be. And lo and behold, it's 211, the 47th prime number. A number you see pop up again and again in ritualistic murders. The Black Dahlia being one perfect example. But Saturnian death cult has this value of 211, just like the timekeeper. And Saturn is known as Father Time, or the timekeeper, or the keeper of time. And this makes me wonder if there actually is an organic side to this whole thing, because look at Saturnian cult, 47. And this all ties in with John, because John equals 47. It's almost a perfect match in all four of the base ciphers with time. You see? And not to mention, timekeeper equals 55. Just like Satan. And just like God. The people behind these rituals are playing God. And East has this value of 185 in the satanic cipher. And that's interesting because the day they say he committed suicide was the day that left 185 days left in the year. And what else I found interesting is Saturnian death cult has value of 841 in satanic. And the square root of 841 is 29. Like how he died on the 29th of June. And what makes it even more interesting, which I'll tie into, is this all came before the premiere of Oprah Winfrey's show, the Oprah Winfrey Show. And like I said, and I'll get into this a little bit later, but remember, Oprah was one of the main characters on The Color Purple, which was filmed in North Carolina. And I'll show you how it all syncs up with his supposed suicide, her birthday, and, Oprah factoring more into 841 is she's born on the 29th day of the year. And here he is dead on the 29th. You see, 29 times 29 equals 841. So, why I found that, why I say there's a connection to the premiere of her show, which, was the spawn of a huge empire. Oprah is very rich and powerful and very influential in this spirituality world. And you could say that she's one of the biggest proponents of the New Age movement, which is going to further tie back into 55. But look how, from his supposed suicide date to the premiere of her show, was a span of 71 days. And 71 is prime. And 71 is the 20th prime. Time equals 20, just like John equals 20. And, they say he died from carbon monoxide poisoning. You see? Suicide, 47. John, 47. Saturnian cult, 47. Tying in with 211. But just look at the match with the Oprah Winfrey Show and Blood Sacrifice. 257, the 55th prime. And the show came out in 86. So yeah, in New Age, which is, a pretty big spiritual movement, it makes me wonder. It really makes me wonder, considering, was he a sacrifice for, Oprah, who went on to accumulate great power? And the purpose of ritual sacrifice is to gain power, to either have some kind of effect on your consciousness, to bring in change into the physical world. I don't know. But Satan's got that 55. But John Porter East and Oprah Winfrey have this matching value of 77. Which ties into the coordinates. I don't know. It seems, this one, it seemed like almost way too perfect that I don't know. But, that made me wonder, because Winfrey has value of 35, which ties into the coordinates of Greenville. And New Age, oh no, I'm sorry. No, it's a New Ager equals 35, which is the term used for people who practice New Age spirituality, which in a kind of way, people say, I've heard it mentioned before that the New Age movement is very much satanic. And I don't know if that's just because it's coming from the Christians, but I don't know. But look how, from her birthday to his death, it was a span of 151. And that's the 36 prime number. And Saturnian equals 36. And I used to think that was tied into 666, but it makes more sense considering the fact that it's Saturnian. And Saturnian is just, it's just like how, Satanism, Saturnian, it's Saturn worship. Just like Satanism is, it's like the culture of the cult. So I was never fully satisfied with the 666 thing. I mean, yeah, you can make the argument, well, Satan equals 55 and 666 is the number of the beast. And Satan is the beast. I don't know. But Oprah got her start in news. And, then she went on to star in this very big film, which was directed by Steven Spielberg. But I'll get into how it connects to the color purple. And here's Oprah. I guess the whole 151 thing would make sense considering, this picture right here. But look at the matching values of 184 and 194 with the color purple. And remember, the color purple represents royalty or the elite, and purple equals 29, which I think I show in this slide. So, yeah, purple has value of 29, tying in with John East, 29. Senator also has value of 29 in the full reduction. But you see purple? And then poison also 29. What's really interesting is 29 is a 10th prime, and Satan and God equals 10, but L equals 10. I think that's God. Yeah. God equals 10 in reverse full. Just like L. People, the elite. Yeah, I already went all over this. And that's what really made me wonder is, it seems crazy. It really does, but the numbers tie in, especially considering this. The Oprah Winfrey Show, 257, the 55th prime, and he had all those other 55 stacked on him. I can't believe she's not born in 55. But who was born in 55? The main character, Whoopi Goldberg. And I found interesting numbers when I measured both ways from her 30th and her 31st. But from her 30th birthday to, to his death. Hold on, I gotta close this and then see what I wrote, because I haven't looked at this post in a while. Yeah. Do I have that here? Okay, here we go. From her 30th birthday to his suicide was 228 days. And death equals 228. Remember Brian Jones from the Rolling Stones, who was found at the bottom of a swimming pool, his birthday was 2/28. And he died 125 days after his 27th birthday. Just like John Porter East, he's born on the 125th day of the year. So yeah, Whoopi has that value of 31, and I found that interesting because it's prime. And so from his suicide then up to her 31st birthday was 137 days, the 33rd prime. And, John Porter East was a senator, so he was in government. I thought that would be significant to that, and I'm sure it ties in, I'm sure the meaning behind the 137 is layered, multi-layered, but I found that to be the most significant considering the fact that, he was in government. But what's crazy, Alice Walker, who wrote The Color Purple, right? I think her birthday is, look at her birthday. 2/9, like 29. I mean, come on. So poisoning ties in with her birthday to his suicide. She's born in 44. But what was it? It was 20 weeks. Yeah, it was 140 days from her 42nd birthday to his suicide. And Satanic Sacrifice equals 140. Just like the Timekeeper. And then, whose birthday is this? Oh, yeah. That was the premiere of the show. Yeah, I already covered that. And what I found interesting is I believe Oprah has birth numerology of 103. So she's born on the 29th day of the year in 54. You see how she has birth numerology of 103, the 27th prime number. Further tying into the 125 in the Saturnian Sacrifice. But you see the definition of sorcery. It says the use of magic, especially black magic. And I think it would definitely be safe to say this kind of practice would be categorized in the dark arts or black magic category. But look at the value of sorcery. I thought that was interesting because of the 103. Something to think about. And then the release of her show, the premiere of the Oprah Winfrey Show, also has lesser numerology of 103. If you don't account for the century. So I thought that was interesting. And then you see how it's the 251st day of the year. That's the 54th prime number. And Oprah's born in 54, but there's this special relationship with 54 and 86. She's born in 54, then she gets the release of the premiere of her show in 86. You see how scripted her life is? Two very big significant events in her life, obviously her birth being one of them. But the reason why her show premiered in 86, and then I believe 45. So 54, 86, and 45 all have this special relationship because they all have matching value. You see? And another good, you see how the numbers get layered to increase their power. 86. And what I found crazy, and I don't know if there's anything to this, but it's interesting to think about, is the fact that 86 also has this special relationship with 98, because when you flip 86 in reverse, or you look at it upside down, you get the number 98. 98, I'm sorry. In the show, so the show came out, look, you're going to see how perfect it is. It came out September 8th in 86. 9/8, 86. And Oprah Winfrey, she definitely is a practitioner of the law of reversal. And a lot of people, this was an observation made a long time ago, and a lot of people have been speculating as to but they're saying, hey, look at this. Oprah's probably a Satanist. And it could be the Christians. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I definitely believe that she's a Satanist. But you know what? Now that I know, I've done a lot more research on Saturn worship since the start of this channel. But that makes her symbol, the O, even that much more significant, because that could be symbolic of the ring of Saturn, the one ring that Tolkien talked about, the ruling ring. And we all, the reason why people wear wedding rings is because of ancient Saturn worship. And also one of the biggest holidays of the year, Christmas, that's a Saturn holiday wrapped up in disguise. But her symbol, she loves the O. And I think I get more into it in this one, and I'll show you that the O is no coincidence. Oh yeah, a point I forgot to make is, so the premiere of The Color Purple happened on December 18th, 1985, and that just so happened to be Steven Spielberg's 40th birthday. But from that premiere to the date of his suicide was 193 days, the 44th prime number. And poisoning equals 44. And Alice Walker was born in 1944. So Harpo Studios, which is Oprah backwards, and here she is in the middle of, isn't this crazy, you guys? Think about it. So the O can be symbolic of the ring of Saturn, the ruling ring. And Christmas, they say it's a time to celebrate the birth of Jesus, but really it's all about to worship Saturn. And here she is in a Santa costume, and Santa is a rearrangement of Satan, and they say Satan is actually Saturn. So I don't think I'm going to go. I think I've proven my point, and I don't want to make this video too long. But, I'll leave it on this picture right here. And ask the question, was the death of Senator John Porter East a ritualistic sacrifice for this woman right here and the other people connected to the Color Purple film? So RIP to John Porter East. And yeah, stay safe out there, guys.